So I can see why people love this. I can see what this movie's got going for it, and I can honestly see people having a blast throughout it, because it's not horrible, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it definitely does make me roll my eyes though, and it does kind of make me angry, and most of all, it just made me so monumentally bored throughout its goddamn near 3 hour long runtime. I just could not love it. In fact, I disliked it quite a bit. Here's why. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, and this is my review of Ready Player One. Ready Player One is a movie that feels like it's trying too hard all the time, yet somehow at the same time manages to feel lazy. It tries too hard with its in-your-face inclusions, coming in the form of pop culture characters popping up on the screen, as well as its oh-so-clever, obscure, and not really that obscure, pop culture-based references. Ready Player One does all it can do to get its audiences into this gimmick that it forgets about itself. Rather than focusing on plot or making its characters compelling, it sluggishly throws about Mortal Kombat characters, Ninja Turtles, and horror movie icons in an attempt to distract. And fuck, those aren't even the cringiest of appearances. And that's the film's biggest problem. It's got so much going on at all times that it's as if it doesn't even trust its own audience to go on without some recognizable characters coming up every goddamn 30 seconds. And it ultimately ends up being so full before the main course even arrives. That's right folks, here comes a fairly weak food analogy to serve my point. And I have the audacity to criticize someone else's work. Ready Player One instead fills up on crap and empty calories in the form of video game characters, cartoons, and memorabilia. And I know, I sound like the jaded old man who's scared of where we're at. I sound like the guy who doesn't know what's what, and look, I sound out of touch, but it's not that I don't get it. I get it. I just need more than that. More than what this movie delivered, and I don't understand those who don't need more than that. And trust me, I'm in the minority here. People have been loving the hell out of Ready Player One, so don't take this too personally. But why? What is it that I'm missing here? I understand the nostalgia. I grew up with these things too, but that's just not enough to get me through, especially not for so long. My god, was this long. Through these long hours though, I tried to connect, I tried to care, but honestly, I just couldn't. I simply don't feel for characters that don't feel real to me. The protagonist Wade is bland as hell, then comes the love interest, who honestly actually is probably the best part of the movie. I mean, it's not like the writing behind her is mind-blowing or anything, but she was at least somewhat likable. With the exception of her one crybaby scene in which she reveals her horrible, horrible secret being that she has a, not that noticeable birthmark on her face that she deems hideous, but look, that's fine. People are self-conscious. I get it. And then comes, after that, I don't know, a bunch of side characters that don't really matter other than serving as Wade's friends or Wade's enemies or Wade's one inspiration guy, man. What disconnected me even more from these characters though was that for a majority of the time we were staring at their online avatar personas, and it was just cartoon bullshit, and to be blunt, it had some terrible design work behind it. Not in terms of the animator's abilities, but just in terms of distasteful style. It seems like this style being such a heavy element, as well as the abundance of wacky action scenes for our characters to confront, that really just made Ready Player One feel like a children's movie to me. And look, not to crap on kids movies, they have an audience, and they are not all bad. Not by any stretch. It's just that, and maybe this was my own fault, but I was under the impression that we were going for something a little bit more mature, with a bit more of a story and perhaps even with something to say. For every opportunity that I felt like Ready Player One had to say something under its surface, well, I instead was just practically shot in the face by appearances of Pac-Man or some shit. Look though, this movie does have some pros to its cons. It's not all bad. It does have some appeal, especially to that geeky side of humanity, and occasionally, at least at first, it could be kinda cool to spot some Easter eggs throughout, even if it did get old pretty quick. It also did honestly have some really greatly designed action set pieces, including the car chase everyone keeps talking about, as well as other things in the movie such as the final epic battle and that particular sequence that took place in the setting of a certain 80s movie. Visually, sure, it was pretty damn impressive. I can see the inherent fun layer of the movie in these places, but it just wasn't enough to get me invested. Strong competency in visuals can only get you so far. Sorry to say, because I know that this movie is so popular at the moment, but I just gotta say, I think Ready Player One kinda sucked.